through Fox News and let the independents who are tuning into you, let them know what it is that she stands for, the principles behind her positions.
It used to be that new candidates were advised to brush up on the issues so they could handle questions from anyone, even tough questions. The idea behind that was that it prepared you also for actually governing. But now the advice to candidates is only to talk to sympathetic reporters.
We need to start now by electing strong leaders who aren't afraid to shake it up. We need strong, principled leaders, public servants who respect our Constitution.
We need clarity. We deserve answers, so we don't ask the same questions tomorrow.
Good night, Laura.
She's staffing up. I think we give her a chance to prove herself. And for heaven's sakes, I think we don't want another Goldwater-Rockefeller battle where we tear the party apart before we get to the convention.
I think that'd be wonderful if the party teared itself apart.
Do you believe she has the right stuff? I want to ask Pat, hold on just for a second. I want to get the answer from the Republican or erstwhile Republican here. Do you believe, with your hand on a Bible, that she has the right stuff to be President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief, and all that goes with it? Do you, Pat Buchanan, are you willing to say now she has the right stuff? Those are my words. I'm asking you if you accept them.
She's got a lot of the right stuff. A lot of it. A lot of it. Wait a minute. I think
he's hedging. You're hedging,
let me
Pat.
say, I think she's got the instincts, the courage, the charisma, the following. Has she proven yet? She's got the depth on the issues and the ability to handle issues abroad and at home, especially abroad. She has not demonstrated that yet, but I do believe she should have a chance to do so if she wishes to run
Well, she had a chance to demonstrate it when she was.
Well, the trouble with that argument
is, Chris, she had a chance to demonstrate this when she was governor of Alaska, and she couldn't take the heat. She couldn't make it through a full term there. Now she wants to pretend she's presidential timber. Well, I know why some people are following her, but that's why a lot of people in the Republican Party say, listen, this would be a big mistake if we went down this path. The problem that the Republicans have is that they really have nobody to say no to her at this point who has any clout, any influence, any power that can block her. Well, why? Well, who? Karl Rove, and Barbara Bush. These are mosquitoes that she can just swat away. If she runs, she will have to be defeated by other Republican candidates. Okay. Mitt Romney, Mike Huckabee, and I'll tell you what, they're not going to take her on now because there's a chance she may not run. And if she doesn't run, they want her support.
Right.
Right? So they're not going to come out strong.
Let me ask you, Pat, you have just...
Sure.
Pat, I just want to give Pat one more bite at the apple here. When I asked you if she had the right stuff to be president, you said not all of it. You just put her in league with about 329 million Americans who you're not sure have the right stuff to be president.
No. Let me tell you this. Do I think Palin has the right stuff to be president? I'm not sure. Do I think Mike Pence has it? I'm not sure. I think they have to prove that, Chris, in the primaries.
Who has
Nixon. Well, when Nixon ran, you know what he told me? He said, Pat, they think I'm qualified to be president. Everybody thinks I'm a loser, and they don't want me. I'm going to have to prove I'm not a loser by running in every single primary.
But no one said
he did it.
But, Pat, no one thought Richard Nixon was unqualified. They might have thought he was a psychopath, but they didn't think he was unqualified. He had been vice president. I mean, he'd been a senator. He'd been a member of the House. This is much different than Sarah Palin and writing a book.
Let's go to Joe.
Feels.
Chris, Mother Jones is frightened to death of Sarah Palin. I can see it right here. Go ahead.
Okay, let's take a look at Joe Scarborough asked my favorite question to John Shattuck, the congressman, today. Put him on the spot for a number of minutes this morning with one question. It's the question I've asked. Is she qualified to be president? Republicans don't like this question, not elected ones. Here's the condensed version of this morning.
Do you think that Sarah Palin is qualified to be president of the United States?
Well, you tell me who came out and trashed QE2.
Do you think Sarah Palin is qualified to be president of the United States?
Joe, I think that's a decision for the American people.
Do you believe that Sarah Palin is qualified to be president of the United States?
Do you want to ask me if I believe all the other candidates?
No, I'm just asking you one question, John. I'm just asking you one question. I want an answer.
Are they at the White House going to discuss Iran today and what's going on with the leaked documents? Come on, Joe.
Wow.
Do I think Sarah Palin is qualified? Yeah. I think the American people and the Republican Party will make that decision, as the process requires.
God, you know, Pat, this reminds me of the good old days of are you now or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? This is the question that a lot of people don't like to ask, but here's the question. I guess the argument, go ahead, I want to get the argument that I think Joe Scarborough, our colleague, has made here, which is this is going to take a lot of time dealing with Sarah Palin, and it's not going to end up with her nomination. It's going to distort the process, putting all the focus on her. People will be nice to her. Some will treat her like a pinata at some point. I expect Newt Gingrich will take some shots at her at some point. But in the end, it won't really have anything to do with picking a president. Don't you need to, since you think you face, and everybody does, I think fairly, a very close election in 2012, don't you want to get to the business of picking the nominee from day one with the first debate rather than having her, who's so exciting in terms of politics, distracting? Your thoughts?
No, I don't. Hey, Chris, look. If Republicans are going to win, it's got to be a coalition of moderate Republicans, Republican establishment, conservatives, and the Tea Party types. Now, Sarah Palin brings cards to that table. You don't want to give any of it up. We don't want to make the same mistake we made in 1964 when we tore ourselves apart before we got to San Francisco. So I think let the woman, if she wants to run, let her run and make her case. And if she wins that nomination, she can only win it by beating these folks and beating another finalist in debates and everything else. That's how Obama did it.
That's the problem that the Republicans face. If they are nice to her and they let her compete the way that Pat suggests, there's a chance she might get the nomination. And right now, the polls and I think people in the Republican Party and the leadership, realize that she will have the least likely chance of any of the major Republican candidates at this point in time. Now, so the problem is, can you stop Republican voters from going over that cliff? The answer might be you can't.
She's extra sassy these days, too, because she's winning. All her mama Grizzlies are winning. And they're busting through that glass ceiling. And the mama Grizzlies are going to Washington, and they're going to flip your picnic table, Dave. You know what I noticed on Fox News last night, though, is on Fox News, they address her as Governor Palin, which is like calling me Dairy Queen employee. I was once, but I quit.
That's right.
There is that point there that somehow Sarah Palin forgets.
Perhaps we are not properly educating our youth in the exceptional nature of America. It's worrisome because this belief in American exceptionalism is something that every new generation has got to make its own if we expect our republic and our liberties to be secure and to live on. For America to survive, we have got to pass this on to that next generation, to the young kids who are here, to the students.
This real America, does it exist, John?
Well, in terms of real American and exceptionalism, look, the most basic thing that people can do in support of a democracy is vote. And we take our votes very seriously. The people of Alaska voted for Sarah Palin, and Sarah Palin quit. Exceptional people don't quit. And I seriously tell my kids this probably 2 or 3 times a week. It's better to lose than to quit. So she can sit there and she can talk about being exceptional. She can talk about better of America. If she were a better person, she would have stood and fought. She chose to check out and to do it to make money. I've got no problem with making money, but that's what she is. She's a reality
I have a different observation, though. He hears what's going on. That speech, the first 20 minutes, was every vapid cliche strung together. It was complete, almost nonsense.
Suppose Senator John Doe puts forth a constitutional amendment that would outlaw abortion, even in cases of rape or incest, and he asked you to attend the announcement and support him in that. Would you do it?
I would. Yes, a proposal like that, I would stand by it. Let's be completely clear about the facts here. There is no place in the world and no time in history where restricting women's reproductive rights makes a people or a nation more free or more equal. These extreme positions on abortion are, without any question, a war on American girls and women, and the fact that there are women who are both complicit and participatory in it is really neither surprising nor unprecedented. It has always been true, and it is incredibly important that we recognize that despite the fact that we can be very proud of these women and as politicians, that the question is, how do women as citizens fare on the other side of them either being elected or not elected?